Hello, thank you for attending the session. My name is Calvin Chak from the sales engineering team here at BlackBerry. Today, I will be talking about how mobile endpoints can be protected by BlackBerry's latest innovations. But before we get into the details on what the technology is and what it looks like, let's just look at some industry trends because it's important to have context on why mobile security is critical in today's climate. So the first slide here shows the top 3 devices that are connected to the internet. Both the amount as well as the ratio that's between each of the different types. So the first type of device is the tablet, so iOS and Android tablets, and that's designated by the purple line. And as you can see from the graph, it's quite low, below 5% of the total amount of devices. The next line up from that is the blue line, which is the desktop and laptops. And that hovers around between the 46 to 48% percentage. And one up from that would be the green line, which is the mobile devices. So that actually hovers around between 51 to 52%. So this is the situation that we are in today. Mobile devices have overtaken traditional laptops and desktops as the total amount of devices that are connected to the internet. This trend is also a reflection of the situation within the corporate environment. Because if you think back 10 years ago, perhaps, almost 100% of our work tasks had to be performed in the office. So a user had to be sitting at his desk using his corporate assigned laptop and be connected to the internal corporate network. But in today's world, more and more of the daily work tasks and routines can be accomplished by a mobile device. So we can, with the speed of innovation in mobility, we can actually accomplish even more work-related tasks on our mobile devices. And that is a trend that we will see only increasing. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. This is an infographic that summarizes a research project by Checkpoint. And what it does is it takes the total amount of cyber attacks, and it's a pretty recent study, so 2019, and it actually coincides with the previous infographic and the previous graph. These are all around the same, both of them are around the same period. So what this infographic shows is it categorizes the different types of cyber attacks, and it categorizes them to the 5 categories, and also spreads it out into the 3 geo regions. So the Americas, EMEA, and APAC. And as you can see, right at the bottom, we've got ransomware, and then moving on up, we've got banking, botnet, crypto miners, and right at the top, we've got mobile cyber attacks. And if we look at the numbers across the regions, we can see some slight fluctuation in the numbers right across the regions. But the ranking of the categories actually remains the same. So this proves that on the whole, on a global level, we see a huge amount of cyber attacks now coming via the mobile platform. So why is this the case, and how can we explain this? A few possibilities. The first one, of course, is that laptops and desktops have been around for a long time now, 30, 40 years perhaps, and of course also the corporate networks that they connect to. So the security industry as a whole has had all this time to develop strategies and solutions to counter these threats. And if we compare that to the mobile device, it's been around for some time, maybe 10, 12 years perhaps. But compared to the time that we've had the laptops and desktop, is a relative newcomer. So the strategies that the industry has employed over the years, the experiences that we've had, is not as mature as those that we can be employed for the mobile platform. The other thing, of course, is that mobile devices, the mobile operating environment, works quite differently from your traditional Windows and Mac OS. So the way the apps run, the way networks being called, things like that, they're all quite different. So the experiences that the industry as a whole has garnered over the last 30 and 40 years sometimes are not applicable for the mobile platform. A second possibility of why mobile threats are increasing is really because of the mobile form factor. So the small screen size of, mobile devices tend to have small screen sizes, and they are increasing year on year, right? But the 6-inch screen on your phone is a lot smaller than your 15-inch screen of your laptop. So what this means is that sometimes the small screen, the form factor, puts the user at a disadvantage when they're trying to decipher or they're trying to ascertain whether a particular URL link or an email address is a phishing attempt, for example. So we've got a small screen. If we've got a long URL, a lot of it is going to get truncated, right? So same thing goes for email addresses. So small screen size could be a possibility, right? And of course, the threat actors know that. A third possibility, of course, is what I would like to term the human factor. So when we use mobile devices, they typically tend to be quite personal. We carry them on our person all the time. And we use them in scenarios that may not be when we're in an office scenario. So take, for example, you are looking through your work emails, you're not necessarily in the office, or you're not necessarily at your home desk. You could be commuting to the office, you could be on a train to meet a customer or a client. You could even be watching TV and sitting on your sofa where you're flipping through your work emails, right? And this results in what we call split attention, where you've got one eye on your phone and the other eye on the TV, and you're just trying to, blitz through some work emails. And this scenario, of course, as compared to when you're sitting at your work desk, the user does not have 100% of his attention. So when he looks at an email, it might be a phishing attempt. He might not be as vigilant as if he would if you're sitting at a desk at his corporate laptop looking at his Outlook client. So regardless of the reasons for why this is the case, the statistics speak for themselves. Mobile cyber attack threats on the mobile platform is the highest among all the other categories. And if we take into account the previous slide where more than 50% of connected devices now are mobile devices, we find ourselves in a situation which is a slight cause for concern. And the security industry needs to be aware of the situation and also think of how to develop mitigation strategies. So what's BlackBerry's response to this? 3 areas of focus. The first one, of course, is on the device level. Our MTD platform or product addresses this. We monitor indicators on the operating system level, such as the operating system version, patch levels, device configuration, firmware, various system libraries. For example, if they're routed or jailbroken, there'll be changes in that. In order to detect vulnerabilities or suspicious or malicious activity. The next area of focus is on the network level. So we monitor cellular and wireless network traffic for unsanctioned or suspicious or malicious behavior. We also check for invalid or spoof certificates, and that's particularly important because a lot of the network traffic today goes over an encrypted form, so TLS or SSL. We also perform a variety of other customized man-in-the-middle detection techniques. The third area of focus is particularly important because that's where we see most of the exploits coming through. And we identify grayware and malware through the application sandboxing and code analysis. And of course, these analysis techniques also include signature-based anti-malware filtering, code emulation or code simulation, application reverse engineering, as well as app security testing. So we now get to the actual product itself. BlackBerry's MTD product is called BlackBerry Protect for mobile. And what does it do? It actually has advanced threat protection and that it leverages on the wildly popular and world-class Silence AI engine, which now is used to work really well and efficiently on the traditional desktop and laptop environments, but now has been transplanted to the mobile environment. It assures that all devices manage as well as BYO, so that means with or without an MDM agent. And all these devices are actually protected from zero-day threats. So zero-day protection has been a common theme in the Silence world when it was protecting your traditional endpoints like laptops and desktops, just because it doesn't rely on signatures, but instead uses AI. So that functionality, of course, gets translated to the mobile platform also. And of course, with the integration of to the entire UEM platform, we ensure a holistic compliance policy and remediation. It's not only enough to detect the threats, but we need to be able to do something about the threats also once they're detected. Okay, so let's go through some features. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but here are just some highlights, right? So what are the main features of BlackBerry Protect for mobile? The first one is iOS sideload detection. And again, this applies whether it's a BYOD or with an MDM agent. We also do Android malware scanning. We do UEM App Store scanning also. So if the app, maybe by mistake, has been uploaded into the internal store, we actually do scanning on that also. We do phishing prevention as well as malicious URL detection. So if the user gets an SMS, for example, with a link, and the user tries to get to that link, we actually detect that and block it. We also do offline protection. Of course, this ties into the whole concept of signatureless AI engine. So we don't need updates. And of course, if we don't need updates, we can function offline. So particularly compelling in an air-gapped environment. We also do iOS app integrity checking. So within the Dynamics SDK, all apps, custom apps, whatever it is that the customer chooses to do, we actually provide that protection. And of course, as part of the integration with the whole UEM platform, we have the numbers and reporting and all the nice graphs integrated within a dashboard for the admin to peruse. Okay, so why should we use BlackBerry MTD? The first answer, and probably the most important one, would be the actual protection engine itself. As mentioned before, the Silence AI engine has been extremely popular over the last few years, and that know-how and all that data science, the distillation of that has been transplanted to the mobile platforms today. So MTD, BlackBerry MTD uses the AI technology that was created by Silence that was previously for laptops and desktops, again, now available for the mobile platforms. Next point, and for existing customers can be 100% sure that their mobile fleet is protected without the need to deploy additional infrastructure, without the need to deploy additional apps, because BlackBerry Protect is actually baked into the existing platform. So for many competitive MTD vendors, they will need to deploy a different server infrastructure. They will need to deploy a separate app. This app then needs to be run by the user. It needs to be activated. If that's not done, then the protection doesn't start. That's not applicable to us, right? So because of the integration, we just need to create the correct policies, put a couple of checkboxes in, and then at that point, the entire mobile fleet will be protected. The last point, of course, I alluded to it earlier. We have that single pane of glass, no additional admin consoles to worry about. All the information, all the management data, all the policies is integrated within our UEM platforms, so that the admin can see, in not only just management of the devices, but the security posture of all the devices that can all be visible within a single dashboard. Okay, so at this point, I will probably want to shift gears and jump into a demo. So before I jump straight into the demo, I probably want to explain a little bit about how the demo is set up. Basically, this is an Android device, as you can see. But what we're going to do is we're going to run a malicious app. The malicious app masquerades as a coronavirus tracker app. And as you can well imagine, with the COVID-19 situation around the world, these have proven to be particularly popular. And the threat actors, they know this, right? So they're taking advantage of everybody's fear and concern on the virus situation to spread havoc, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to run the we're also going to look at the ramifications of what happens, once we run the app, once we install it, and then what's going to happen then when we put Protect on it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to install the app as you would, pretty standard stuff. The app will install without much drama, and we'll just follow along and just go along with all the prompts and follow the instructions of what the app asks us to do. At this point, the app is installed, and we can see from the app drawer that the app is now available to the user to use, and is designated by that COVID-19 icon. On running the app for the first time, the app will then ask for some elevated privileges. So the first one they will ask for is for the app to run persistently in the background. And the idea for this, of course, is that the app will continuously scan using the device's location, scan for nearby coronavirus patients, and then inform the user of it. So once that is done, and the user enters the app, he will see two more permissions. The first one is to activate the lock screen, and the idea behind that is to display information even when the phone is locked, to display information on the lock screen so that the user is informed. So that sounds innocuous enough, and the user will just go ahead and activate it. And the second permission, of course, is to enable apps in accessibility for apps monitoring. And again, because the user wants the app to do stuff for them, they will go ahead and install that and activate that permissions also. So once that is done, the app will now show two green ticks. And at this point, the user is really happy because the app is now functional, and they can go ahead and scan the area, the nearby area for coronavirus patients. And that's exactly what they do. Once they do that, the app drawer will now show that the app is running in the background. So all great stuff. The user is happy that the app is now doing something for them. What the user does not know, though, is the app is doing other malicious things. For example, leaking passwords, uploading data to remote servers, and particularly malignant is this app is now starting to encrypt content on the device. So at this point, when the user starts to launch any app itself, in this case, it's just a phone app, the user will be presented with this screen saying all the contacts, pictures, videos, social media accounts have been encrypted and will be leaked publicly if they don't pay $100 worth of Bitcoin. So at this point, the malicious app has basically taken over the whole device, right? And there's nothing much the user can do. If he tries to open another app, for example, the SMS app, he's then presented with the same screen. And it's pretty scary stuff. There's nothing much the user can do at this point besides hard resetting the whole phone and losing all their data or paying the ransom. So what we're seeing here is just one example of what are the many exploits that have been occurred in the last few months. What we'll see in the next section is what protections we can put in place on the device just to warn users, let them know in real time because of the continuous pre-execution protection that BlackBerry Protect has, that these apps are malicious before they run these apps, right? So here we are with the same device, but in this case, we've got BlackBerry Protect installed. And what we're going to do is we're going to run the same coronavirus tracking app, and we'll see how the device responds. Okay, sorry. Right, so same thing, we've got Protect running, but we'll install the app again. So once the app is installed, within a split second, we'll see a notification from Protect that a malicious app has been suspected. We can then go into the BlackBerry Protect app to see look for details on what exactly is wrong. So straight away, we'll see, oh no, the device is at risk, highlighted. If we drill down into it, we'll see that device security is okay, message scanning is okay, but we've got application security that's particularly problematic. And we don't have any problematic side-loaded apps, but we've got a malicious app, right? And from the UI, the user can immediately tell that the app that they just installed is the one that's problematic, right? And before we actually do the remediation, what we like to show here is to access a work app. So this is a BlackBerry work app. It runs on Dynamics. And what it does is the Dynamics runtime actually detects that there's a malicious app on the device and blocks access to your corporate apps. So there's no access to corporate sensitive information. There's no risk of it being leaked. At this point, the phone also tells the user, this is the offending app. And clicking on this will actually bring it to the Android app info screen where the user has the ability to uninstall the app. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the BlackBerry Protect app, and we will uninstall the app from there. So we go back to BlackBerry Protect. We're going to click the Fix button, and that will bring us to the native Android uninstall UI, where we can uninstall the offending application. And straight away, you see the user can see that there are no more malicious apps. And when he launches his corporate app, he can now have access to it. So really simple. This illustrates not only the pre-execution prevention that we have with our AI engine, but it also allows the user to self-remediate, right? Which is a huge thing. And that kind of ties in with our, you might have heard many times within BlackBerry's presentations of zero trust and zero touch. So this is the zero touch aspect where we actually remove the friction of security for the users such that we need to protect devices, but we also don't want to compromise the user experience at the same time. So this allows users to self-remediate. They don't have to call help desk, and they can go along the happy way, just with a couple of clicks. Okay, so let's wrap up. What have we learned today? Mobile attacks are increasing in volume and complexity. BlackBerry Protect uses AI, extremely important. It doesn't use signatures to protect mobile devices while not compromising the user experience. Lastly, for existing customers, BlackBerry Protect is integrated into UEM and Dynamics, so there are no additional apps to install. There's no additional infrastructure to install. We just have a couple of clicks on the admin console and the entire mobile fleet is protected. So that is the end of my presentation. I hope it's been informative. And thank you again. And I hope to speak with you all in person soon. Thank you.